what kind of is the career progression? What can someone expect when they get in, entry level, let's say as a clinical trial assistant? Where does the career often take them?
I would say if you start out as a CTA, then your options would be move on to be, which most people do, move on to the CRA role. I do know some people that went on to the project management side of things. I don't really know the career progression for that, but I know that some CTAs do move on to the other side and go to project management through a different route, and they don't do the CRA route. Right. But as far as the CRA route, it would be CTA, CRA, and then depending on the company you work for and what they call these people, it would be like your project manager, and then like the project lead for all of the countries, or the global, or just depends on what company you work for, what they call it. So yeah, that's the general progression that I would say. It's about accurate. Or you could do, instead of going to project management, you can do line management.
Right. Okay. As far as you, what kind of interests you about the progression? I mean, I know a lot of people that just go to CRA and then they're like CRAs for 15, 20 years. I guess as senior CRAs is also, you make a good living doing that. What about you? What do you think for yourself?
Yeah, I know several CRAs that have been doing this for over 10 years. That is not my plan.
Okay.
I do plan to, eventually, whenever I want to start a family or something, I just don't see how there are women that do it, but I don't see how they, raise children and have a family and travel as much as we do. So I would say, I would be looking to move out of the CRA role once that happens, whenever that happens. But just in general for me, I am not really sure what route I want to go, because I'm kind of on the line of if I want to go into project management at all, just because I just feel like they just have no lives.
Oh, you're exactly right. I mean, I came from that world before I came over to the clinical side, and you're exactly right. They have no lives.
Yeah. So I'm kind of, I've seen a couple of CRA lead positions, which I was like, I think I may be interested in that whenever I stop traveling, interested in the CRA lead, and then determining what to go to next from there. But I'm not really sure. I'm still trying to figure that part out for myself.
Right. Well, you definitely got some time. So you definitely got some time to think about that. And
yeah.
It doesn't seem like there's, I know a lot of times in other professions, you've got to wait for your boss to leave or something to get a promotion, or you've got to wait for somebody to die to get a promotion, pretty much. But it's definitely not like that in clinical research. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. For the most part, I think as far as getting promotions while you're a CRA, it's pretty easy to get promotions while you're a CRA to the next level of CRA. I think when it becomes tough is when you try to transition out of the CRA position. Yep. When you try to go to those upper roles, I think it becomes tougher to get the positions, because I spoke with a lot of senior CRAs, and they just, they're telling me they're trying to get out of the CRA role, but there's not enough project management positions, or there's not enough line management positions, or some of them just want to stay as CRAs. But a lot of the time they just tell me it's tough to get a position in project management after CRA.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because it's just a matter of whatever company you work for having that open, project management position for you at the time that you're ready to transition. Because they may have it a year before you're ready to transition, or a year after you're ready, you know?
Right.
So it's just a matter of timing.
Yep. And there could be like increased competition for it because, a lot of these places do have project management training programs
Mm-hmm.
in place for like the other people under the project manager, like project
Mm-hmm.
coordinator, project specialist,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the title is. They all have different titles, but they have like a development process for them also.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. So plenty of space there on the end to think about what you want career wise. Um, but yeah, do you see yourself being in clinical research for a long time?
I do see myself being in clinical research for a long time. I say that I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I want to do, because now I'm opening myself to looking at the business side and different things like that. So I'm also like looking into the finance aspect of clinical research.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just all over the place right now, just trying to figure out like what area I want to go into after I'm done with the CRA role.
Okay. How about contract monitoring? Would you do that?
See, I've never actually heard of that, so I'm not even sure.
You've never heard of a contract monitor?
No, not a contract monitor.
Oh wow.
I've
Okay.
heard of people that like do the contracts in the beginning for the sites. Is that what you are referring to?
No, I'm talking about like a monitor. They'll bring on like a contractor, so
Mm-hmm.
they'll pay them hourly, like for.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, I was thinking about like contract as in money
Got it.
contract.
Got it. Got it.
Okay, yeah, no, contract monitoring. Yeah, I've heard of I know a lot about it, and I know that they get paid very, very well when they're brought on as a contractor. But just the other side of that is just the benefits side. So if I were to do it, I would just have to weigh, not having the benefits and how much it would cost
Right.
to go and get those benefits. And then you also have to set up your own like LLC and everything like that. And, with the whole tax situation. So it would just be something that I would really have to research and, speak to somebody else that's done it.
Mm-hmm.
But I know a few CRAs that I used to work with, they are now contractors. And, so I have people that I can speak to it about, but I know most contractors, they have like at least 5 years experience.
At least, right? Yeah, it's hard to be a contractor unless you don't have a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so definitely another option there for people. I know a lot of people do like moving into the contract side,
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
because you do get paid every hour you work.
exactly. Door to door.
Jeez, I can only imagine what some of those paychecks look like.
Exactly. Especially if your study has you flying all over the place.
Right, right. Oh man, especially imagine going east to west coast, just getting paid to like sit on a plane.
Exactly. And I know some CRAs that even did went to different countries.
Oh
So
wow.
they would go over like a couple CRAs that I know that did contracting. They lived in New York, and so they would go over to like London, and he would go over to where else did he go? He went to London, and he went to Canada, and he went to a few other places. But he could like because he went somewhere else where it was a different language, but he could speak the language, so
Yeah.
he was fine.
There are opportunities out there, and you could say something to this too. There are opportunities out there for monitors that do speak other languages to monitor internationally. Do you know anything
Mm-hmm.
about that?
There's definitely opportunities out there. I see them on LinkedIn all the time. I've actually like just looked up some in different countries just to see like what the job area is looking like in those countries, and they have a lot of just as many, maybe not just as many as the US, but they have a lot of CRA positions open.
For sure.
But you do have to speak the language, and a lot of the times what will trip you up if you're coming from the US is knowing their local regulations.
Right.
So if you don't know their local regulations and you can't speak their language, you're not going to get hired.
Right.
Now obviously it would make it easier if you know, you speak the language, but you still have to know their local regulations. Because I have a few ex-coworkers that I know interviewed for positions in other countries, but they didn't get it because they didn't know enough about the local regulations.